good, YouTube? It's jazzlovesmma here, and I'm going to be doing another tier list. It's been a while. I think the last one I did was the UFC Boxers tier list, but here we have a Crafty Vet tier list. We got 4 tiers. Let me break it down. The top tier, Unk still got it. They're older, but they're still performing well. They're obviously not in their prime, but they're still doing it. Crafty Gatekeeper, someone who may not be out of their prime, but they're a good gatekeeper, and that's why they're not in the Unk. Still got it, but maybe they're not in their like full prime, but they're not an older person. They're a vet, but they're just a gatekeeper. They're not old. Wash is someone who's on the decline, who, you know, maybe they just left their crafty gatekeeper status and they're now on the decline, and it's time Unk are for guys who I think just should retire, and they're not really having the performances that keep up anymore. Someone who I think is going to be in that tier and who was at the front here, dude, Jared Cannonier. Unk, give it up, man. It's time, Cannonier. Uncaneer, it's time. You can retire now, bro. You can retire. I like Cannonier, man. And it was sad watching him lose the COD, because he showed he still has some physical attributes and he still has skill in him, but the body's just giving out. He's too chinny, and he doesn't have the size to keep up with these middleweights anymore. He's obviously too big for welterweight, and the division where he had the good enough size for, it's no longer there for him. And I think it's time for him to retire. I don't think he's washed. I think the washed era would have been after the Amava and Kyle Barajo fight, like before the Cannonier, before the RoboCop fight, where that's when he was like, oh, he's still a gatekeeper, and maybe he proves us wrong if he fights again. But I think if he were to prove me wrong, it would have been against COD, and he would have edged a decision there. I think a couple judges scored it 29-20 anyway. So yeah, I think it's just time for him, man. I just think the time of him crafting up a win is the difference. You can be washed and still win. Moving on, I didn't even realize I could edit this. Oh wow. Moving on, I'm gonna actually just type this in right now. Crafty. This is so unprofessional, but whatever. Oh, it's gonna bother me. There we go. Moving on to someone who I think is a good crafty gatekeeper is, I think Fazeev is a good gatekeeper. He's a bit of a vet now at this point, and I don't think he's washed. I think the Taurus fight showed that. You know, he still had a decent performance, but he's not losing. You know, maybe he's on the decline. You know, I made a whole video about fighters being on the decline and stuff. On specifically Fazeev. I made a whole video about Fazeev, why I think why his injuries have cooked him. But I think he's still a good gatekeeper. He's beating the prospects that are like unranked or like just 15. He beat Bahamondes. He beat Torres. Obviously, that was a weird situation. You could argue it was a fluke because he just threw something random. Because he was like he couldn't really see well. He couldn't really breathe well. But that's craftiness. Just throwing a spin wheel kick as soon as the fight starts. That's experience when he realized he was damaged. So I think he's a good crafty gatekeeper at this point, of like the top 10 of lightweight. Who's an Unk who still got it? Robert Whitaker, Bobby Knuckles. He's not a gatekeeper. I think if he was still at middleweight and he had just gotten a win, I would have said he's a good gatekeeper. But at light heavyweight, I think, you know, he hasn't shown he's a gatekeeper. I think Unk still got it. I think Unk is showing that he can still craft up a couple wins and he can go on a run. I think that's the most important part of the Crafty Vet tier list. If they're in Unk still got it, that means they still got a run in them, right? I don't know if Fazeev really has a run in him. I think he's going to stay in this like top 8 or maybe like top 6 to 10 range, 12 range, where he's crafting the wins. But Whitaker, I think Whitaker is about to go on a run, mainly because of the heavyweight run, but using his experience in that division against these slower dudes as well. I think it's gonna be good for him. Now moving on to someone who do I think is washed? Hmm. I'm just looking to see. So who I think is like on the decline of their crafty vetness. I'm gonna say Neil Magny is a washed crafty vet. He still puts on good performances, but maybe he could be in gatekeeper tier. But I think he's just washed now, you know? Like physically, he can, I don't know, he has good wins. He has pretty good wins. Mike Manley is a good win. He faced two killers, I think, after that. Michael Morales and what's the guy's name? Carlos Prates. Then he fought Jake Matthews and Zaleski Dos Santos. He beat both of them, finished them. Then he fought Amasov and got subbed. That wasn't that bad. It's not bad of a loss. The performance getting dominated, that you shouldn't be doing that, but he's not really gatekeeping anymore. You know, like maybe I think he's just on a bit of the decline when it comes to crafty vetting. I don't know. Maybe he'd be in a gatekeeper tier, like gatekeeping outside top 15 range, but he should arguably be still been ranked if Mike Malley can get ranked. So I think I might switch him here, but let's see as long as I move along. Who is an uncle I think still got it? Brownie Barcelos, the man in the thumbnail. I think he's got it, man. He's older, but he's on a run. He's on a big win streak. And he's just like barely out hustling these dudes with grappling positions against Vontel Jackson, getting the back and getting the takedowns, just dominating Peyton Talbot. Ricky Simone just out dogging him in the pocket in moments with the uppercut and fighting the slip and getting bigger moments. You know? What's another one he has recently? Against Cody Garbrandt. He crafty vetted up with him. Dropped round 1, round 2, started picking up the pace, started implementing some grappling, grinded Cody out to a decision. So I think he's an uncle who still got it, and I think he can still go up in the division, especially depending on the matchups he gets. Like if he gets a Figgy, I think he beats Figgy. He probably chins Figgy, if I'm being honest. He has enough power too, and I think he has the pressure too as well. Someone who I think is a crafty gatekeeper, Mateus Gamera. Come on, these two dudes are crafty. They're literally they do the same thing. They fight someone in a ring, they beat them, and then maybe when they get that bit of a step up, they lose it. So maybe Gamera will lose to Sawa killed, you know? And this is like Fizie's Roofie, where like you think stylistically you should win, or he could win, and then the prospect that she gets through. But Gamera's still a really good crafty like gatekeeper of the division. He has the loss to Dan Hooker, and honestly, Dan Hooker could have probably been up here, but he's a good gatekeeper of the division. Like Ludovic Klein's really good, and like he's like borderline ranked material, and Gamera just stopped his momentum. Ribovix, I don't think he didn't have the craziest momentum, but he was on crazy momentum of him having these wars. Gamera finishes him. So I think he lost to Charles Oliveira, but that's why he's a gatekeeper. When he moves up, he loses, but when he takes that step down, he's beating these guys. He even has a one. He craftily beat Armin Sarukian as well, so it's a good win for Gamera. Who's someone else I think? Dude, Dariush, it's time, man. Hang up the gloves, bro. It's time. The chin's fried, bro. You were able to drop Sal killed, couldn't craft it up, worked him against the fence, and got chinned anyway. It's over, man. You put on a great performance against Moicano, you're done, man. You can retire. The chin is just done. Like he has the skills to maybe beat some of the guys he's fighting, like it showed against Moicano, but just physically, it's like these dudes were like fully physically declined, and they just really don't have anymore. And they're usually one of those guys where his chin it's just not there for the game anymore. I think someone else who's washed is, I think Wonder Boy is a little bit washed, man. He just physically, he's on the decline, right? He still put on a good performance against Bonfim. Arguably won that. He could have won that. When I watched it live, I thought he should have. Haven't watched in a while, but he probably should have won that fight. But he hasn't won in a while. Maybe he's in maybe he's in time. It's time like, but like unlike Cannoneer and Darius, she's still fast. It's like he's not getting chinned. He's fought bad stylistic matchups, so I think he's just washed here. Maybe in his next performance, he'll show that his next performance will like dedicate or will no, not dedicate. What the fuck am I talking about? Will show where he really belongs. If he's like just a washed here and he's a wash dunk, or if it's really time for him to retire. But it also depends on maybe who they give him. Maybe they give him Carlos Salau or something like that. A crafty gatekeeper that I think is here. Brandon Royval. Royval's a good gatekeeper of the top 5. If you're championship material, you beat Royval. Tyroy couldn't beat Royval. Lost to Joshua Van Loner. Lost to Charles Johnson. Who honestly, I don't know why they didn't put him on here. I guess he's not really much of a vet, but he's a good gatekeeper. But I think all these dudes have a little bit way more experience than Johnson at this point. In the UFC at least. Royval has wins, right? Joshua Van broke through the gatekeeper. That's why he became champ. Obviously, weird situation on how he became champ, but still, Pantoja beat him. Became champ. Defended against Royval. Moreno has a win over him. He was a champion. So he's like that championship level gatekeeper, where he may not become champion, but he has all the skills to stop people who aren't ready for that championship level. So, be here, beat Loner, beat Tyra, great prospects. Cop beat him, and Cop's really good. So, maybe that means Cop is going to end up becoming a champion soon, but he's like at least that championship level fighter. So, I think Royval definitely deserves to be in this part. And he's not really an uncle, I think so got it, but I think he's a good gatekeeper. Like, I don't think Royval's going to really go on any crazy run. So I think Rob Font's wash, man. Like, he's able to crafty it up against Gene Matsumoto, but the Raw Roses Jr. performance just makes me immediately throw him down here, man. Like, that was such a bad performance. Just couldn't defend a single takedown. Just really bad. Couldn't get anything going off on the feet. Just awful stuff. He deserves to be washed here. He's not gatekeeping anything anymore. The Kyler Phillips, Gene Matsumoto performances were good. That was like crafty gatekeeper stuff. Now recently, David Martinez beat him. Raw Roses Jr. beat him. Maybe it's time, but I think he's definitely on the decline. And I'm trying to think. I think someone I'm gonna put in. I think it's Time Monk. Jan Blachowicz, man. Maybe he beats Neville Sterling and shows me something and makes me regret putting him this low. But I think it's time, Jan. If he loses to Navajo, even if it's close, how many close decisions can you have until you're just like losing every fight and like all you can do is make it close? Almost like Cannonier, other than like Cannonier's getting beat up bad. Out of his like Jan's last 4, he's 0-2-2. He's had 2 draws and 2 finishes, and he's been decision twice. I think it's time, man. It's time, Jan. But maybe he goes out there and shows a new performance, but with the hairline he's shown, I don't think he will. I think it's time to let go of the hairline as well. Moving on to Moicano's a crafty gatekeeper, man. Moicano's a good crafty gatekeeper. The Darius performance was him meeting someone who is like stylistically could beat him. And I would probably, if this was before the Chris Duncan fight, I would have put him in washed. But he beat Chris Duncan, and he's beat Drew Dober, Jalen Turner, Benoit Saint Denis. Those are good wins he has. He's a crafty gatekeeper. He's gatekeeping the top 10. If he would have fought Paddy ages ago, he probably would have won that. If he's fighting Ortega, he probably wins that. So I think this is a good spot for him. Now that I'm looking at this tier list, I think there's a couple guys I could have added. I think Arnold's a good gatekeeper, but I don't think he's like a crafty vet. So yeah, moving on. Now this is where it gets hard. Where can I put some of these guys? This is very rough. Getting very rough. I think Tybor is washed, man. I know I have in my thumbnail that it's like, is the Crafty run over? And I think so. The Tyrell Fortune, like he's clearly on the decline now. Like he beat Denise and Big Park, and obviously he arguably robbed Big Park, but then the Legia smoked him easily. Lost to Tyrell Fortune. Just bad losses. Maybe he could have won against Fortune, you know? But I just think he's done. I just don't think he has anymore. And I think Rakic is going to beat him. But maybe if he beats Rakic, maybe I'll keep him in Crafty Gatekeeper. But for right now, I think he's washed. And if he loses, he should probably be in its time. Before the time of this video being, I think he'll just be in washed here. He's like too slow. He's like literally flat. He's literally fat and plotty, and he hasn't been able to get his grappling off in his last two. So he's gonna go here. Got a couple fighters left to go. There's a couple of dudes I can just put in Crafty Gatekeeper. Great. Crafty Gatekeeper tier. But I'm gonna put Bobby Green in. Unk still got it. He's on a run. And his losses aren't bad. Roofy, Patty. He shot on Patty. That's where Patty succeeds. He latches. You shoot on him, he's gonna latch up a crazy sub. He's gonna put him out fucking cold. Roofy found this fucking wheel kick. Bam, put him out cold. Then he's back and he's on like a forfeit win streak. He's definitely an uncle who still got it. Even before that, he wins over Jim Miller after he got fucking chinned by Jalen Turner. So I think he's an uncle who's always going to still have it. And then maybe if he starts losing Cole more, he'll probably be down here. But I think for now, he's an uncle who still got it. Will I think he's going to go on a title run? No, but I think he can go back on another run to the rankings and eventually like be a gatekeeper in there. I'm just looking. I'm like, I'm trying to think of where I want to put some of these guys. Mainly some of these three, because I kind of know where I want to put these guys. I'm gonna say Davy Grant is a good crafty gatekeeper. I don't think he's gonna go on a run to the rankings, but he's crafty. He's crafty. And Martinetti's crafty up against him. There's prospects where he's lost to, so maybe I should put him at washed here. But was he ever like that top dude? Like in the rankings? I don't really think he ever got ranked. Maybe ages ago, but I think he's a crafty gatekeeper. You know, I might put him washed. Because maybe his chain and his gas tank is kind of slowed down. I think against Martinetti, he kind of slowed a little bit, but he still was able to pour it on. But he's like a gatekeeper of just like outside the rankings. But like people were able to decision him kind of like a Jan, where like there's arguable robberies. So yeah, I'll put him in just washed here. But someone who I think is a real crafty gatekeeper, Spivak, man. He's crafty. The Legion win showed some good boxing. He arguably beat Waldo. He has losses to Sirogan, but he was able to sub Tybura, who was the crafty vet at that time, who had just beat Tuivasa. And Tybura goes in there and just subs him. So I think that was a good win for Spivak. I really don't know where to put some of these guys. I wanted to put. I was so ready to put Dustin Jacoby in. Unk still got it. Honestly, if he would have beat Saidov, he would have been here. So I'm just gonna say he's a crafty gatekeeper. Because I don't think he's washed. I think he looked like shit against Saidov. Pretty bad performance. Saidov looked good though. Like I'm not taking away from that. but I think he's forever just gonna be like someone who's like, if you're top 15 material, you'll be him, and if you're not, you're gonna get either chinned or outclassed, and he's kind of that benchmark. So I'll definitely put him in this tier. I was so ready to put him in. He's a good gatekeeper. I always thought that, but then I was like, he's on a run. He's on a big win streak. If he beats Side of it, I probably would have actually put him here, but he's not. So I'm gonna have to put him in Crafty Gatekeeper. Now, what do I do with you two? I think it's time, dude. I think it's time, Monk. Tim Elliott. How do we? He's like he got a good win over Kyle Sakura. Made him go down the division, but I think it's time, man. I don't even remember his last Tim Elliott win. He just got like out tit for tat against Steve Versig, close 29-28, but Versig clearly won. I think it's time, man. You've been like a all-time number 13 ranked fighter. I think it's just time to hang it up, man. The style, maybe it might work on some opponents, and this might depend on how he does against Chavez. If he loses to Chavez, it's time on. But if he beats him, maybe he's just low washed, or maybe he's a crafty gatekeeper. We all move him up 2 spots, but I think for now, I think it's time at Tim Elliott. I just think it's time. Michael Johnson is washed, but is he washed? For the sake of just where I have this ranked, or I'll just say decline. I think I'll say just declining. Declining vet. I think that's what I'm going to change this to. Declining vet. I think that works. Because he's able to beat some guys. He was on a run. He beat Huber. He beat Azaitar. He beat Darius Flowers. And then Drew Dober could have been on this tier list, to be fair. There's a couple guys. Drew Dober, I think I could have put on here. Ronald Allen. Some other guy that I was talking about earlier as well. But I think Johnson is a declining vet. Losing to Dober at this point, I think that was pretty winnable for him. Depending on how he would have looked against maybe Anthony Hernandez, it would have either put him here or here. Or maybe I would have bumped him up like 2 spots. I think he's a declining vet. The chin's just not there. He's always had chin issues, but I just don't think the chin's there anymore. But he still has like the attributes, fast hands, great boxing to beat these guys. I'm like I feel like I'm taking jabs at Dariush this entire video, but I like Dariush, man. You would be surprised to hear like how old is Dariush? I think he's only like 36 or something like that. Let me search this up. Dude, Dariush has like a whole head of like silver hair. I feel bad that I'm just attacking this dude, but my dad's like almost like, hold on, let me see how old is Benio Dariush. 37, dude. My dad's almost like a decade, or about a decade older than fucking Dariush, and he has less gray hair on just his beard than fucking Benio Dariush has it on his whole head. The chin's wearing on his hair, man. So you're turning him silver. For the last guy, Unk still got it. I think Volk still got it, and he's at like championship material, and I think he's gonna keep this championship run. Either he'll retire after Momser because there's nothing else left for him, but maybe he goes on and fights maybe like a John Silva or an Aljo. I think that would be good for him. And yeah, but this is my Crafty Vet tier list. Wow, I just realized my face cam wasn't fucking working this entire time. That's incredible news. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm not re-recording this entire video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. My face cam just fucking boots out of nowhere. Wow. What the fuck? But it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. Where would you guys put these guys? Who are some crafty vets you would put in this tier list? Where would you rank them? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already. And I'll catch you guys on Saturday, either for a late recap video or for an immediate recap video. Yeah. Peace.